Hello, good afternoon, and thank you for joining me. My name is Joe Lavers. I'm the Senior Business Development Manager for Wendu Tours. And in conjunction with our partners at Savvy Travel, I'm just going to walk you through some of our fantastic tours of Japan, what makes Wendu very different to other operators, and how we like to work very closely with our travel agent partners, particularly our independent agents such as Savvy Travel. So, as I start, the first thing I would like to talk about just very briefly is the current situation, obviously, with regards to coronavirus. So, as with any respected tour operator such as Wendu Tours, and of course your independent agent as well, your safety and well-being is our prime concern. Now, we update regularly our advice on a regular basis on our website, which we actually also share information with our travel agent partners as well. And we are constantly updating not just our advice, but also our protocols. So here are just a few of the measures that we've taken with regards to coronavirus. So our guides and national escorts, they will have plenty of hand sanitizers, face masks for people to be able to use. They will also get on and off the coaches, obviously separately to the clients. They also will have headsets and microphones so that they're not having to shout when they're actually taking you around some of the sites, for example. So therefore keeping that kind of transmission down to a minimum. All of our transportation will be regularly and is regularly cleaned in between excursions and groups as well. And on top of that, Wendu Tours has always had a really good spacing policy with regards to our transportation, and that will continue. Our accommodation, the hotels that we use, the restaurants that we use, our dining, we've always kept very close eye on how they perform. We get regular customer feedback. We have our own inspection teams as well, and that will continue. So all of the accommodation and dining experiences on a Wendu tour, you can be assured of, will be up to the highest standards with regards to COVID protocols. So let's move on to some more interesting elements. So a little bit about Wendu Tours. We've been in operation for 20 years in the UK, 26 years in total. We originally started off in Australia, but the UK is our head office in London. And we are the UK's #1 Asia tour operator for escorted tours. Most of what we do, or most of what our clients travel with us on, are what we call our classic tours, which are fully inclusive packages. Now that means that includes your flights, predominantly 4-star accommodation, all of your guiding, and we have the best guides in the business, all of your experiences. Nobody includes more experiences than we do, and of such a high quality as well, and all of your accommodation and all of your meals. So it's a really fantastic all-in-one price. Also, if a visa is required by a UK or European passport holder for any of our destinations, then that is included in the price, and we have our own visa department who will work closely with the travel agent and guide you through that process. We've won a huge amount of awards from the travel industry, but also from respected publications such as the Sunday Times, Condé Nast Traveller, just to mention a couple. 5-star TripAdvisor rating, gold trusted service on FIFO, 97% customer satisfaction ratio. So you can be assured, if you travel with Wendu Tours, you will have a fantastic experience. So just a quick overview before I go through in more depth Japan, where we actually travel to, just in case some other destinations also tweak your fancy. So we are the market leaders for China and Japan from the UK. We also travel all across Southeast Asia, including Borneo, the Philippines, Thailand, Myanmar, but without a shadow of a doubt, our most popular destination in Southeast Asia is Vietnam and Cambodia. We then travel across the Indian continent with also Bhutan and Sri Lanka. across Central Asia, so across the Silk Road, what's known as the Five Stands, Georgia, and also Mongolia, as well as the Middle East, which is quite new for us, with tours of Jordan, Israel, Egypt, and Oman. And then our Latin America program, and also brand new, introduced just recently, is our Antarctica expedition cruises. And you can also cruise around the Galapagos Islands as well. So quite a wide range of destinations. But today we are talking about Japan, and Asia is starting to bounce back. Internal tourism is growing at the moment, and also Japan has set up 5 travel corridors with Asian nations around it. So there, some international travel is starting already. So our Japan brochure, we've got 13 tours in total, 11 of which are classic, and 2 are our Go Beyond tours. And I'll explain what the Go Beyond tours are later on as we go through the presentation. We've got tours ranging from 8 to 21 days, and we've got on sale at the moment, not just 2021 departures, but right the way through to 2022. So quite incredible amount of departures that we have available. And of course, you can add on any extensions such as South Korea and Taiwan, particularly popular, and any stopovers as well. So let's talk about the seasons first. So a lot of people want to visit in cherry blossom, which is at the end of March, last week in March, first couple of weeks of April. And it is a busy season. It's very, very popular, not just with international tourists, but also with the Japanese as well. It really does mark the changing, not just of the seasons, but it's quite a spiritual experience for the Japanese. So my advice is always, if you want to go for cherry blossom, you want to see it in Japan, then absolutely go. If it's something that you're not that concerned about, then I would maybe look at possibly going in May. And here you have this pink mox floss, which comes out in the foothills of Mount Fuji. And that's all around the Shizabukuro festival. So lots of celebrations going on at that time, great temperatures as well. So May into June is also a really good time to travel, as is the autumn. Tends to be quite hot and humid in the summer, so we tend to avoid those months with a lot of our tours. But September, October, and even into early November, get these fantastic autumnal colours, slightly less busy from international tourists, so a fabulous time to go. And you can actually still travel in the winter as well. And we only actually really run one tour in the winter, which is in February, and that's up to the northern island of Hokkaido, which is for the Sapporo Ice Festival and the opportunity to see the snow monkeys as well in their most northern region, although you do get to see them on our tours in the sort of further southern island of Honshu, which is the main island. So just talking about the islands, Japan is actually made up of 6,852 islands. However, 97% of the total land area is made up of 4, of which we visit 3, the 3 big main islands. You have Honshu, which is the island which most people go to, which is situated in the middle of Hokkaido up in the north, and Kyushu, the very volcanic and scenic area down in the south. Japan's got a population of just over 126.5 million people. Tokyo itself has a population of just under 14 million, which makes it the world's largest metropolis, as it's got nearly 10% of the population. And Japan is the 3rd largest economy in the world. But for me, with regards to touring, it's not just where you go and what you see, it is what you do. And we do have some fantastic experiences on every one of our group tours of Japan. You will get to enjoy a tea ceremony. So the way of tea, as it's called, and this is performed by a tea master, not a geisha. There is a big difference. And it really is quite a moving experience. I really enjoyed doing this last year. You get involved in the whole ceremony of it, the preparation, what it means to them culturally. You get to also have a go at mixing some of it yourself, and then of course tasting it. I don't particularly like the green tea that is the result of this, but others did. But it's really about the experience. It is quite fantastic. And on our Go Beyond tours, they tend to be a little bit more possibly physically demanding. than our normal tours. And an example of that is in our Offbeat Japan tour, where you hike through the beautiful nature at the base of Mount Fuji, as an example. Also on our Go Beyond tours, they don't include all meals, and you can stay in some quirkier accommodation, such as up in a monastery in Koyasan. And this is the image you have on the left here, and you will spend time in the monastery, but also the following day, you'll spend some time with the monks and join in with their chanting and their Zen meditation. Back to our standard group tours, and we have washi paper making. It's just another example of some of the experiences that we have, the traditional Japanese way of making paper, so you can get your hands dirty and involved in that, as well as soba noodle making. We also have things like sake tasting, miso, visiting a miso farm, finding out how that spice is made. Lots of really interactive experiences. And if you travel with us on our Japan Uncovered or our Offbeat Japan tours in May or September, then you also get to go to a sumo wrestling festival, which is a really fantastic experience. The Japanese love this sport and they treat these guys like Premiership footballers. Getting tickets is quite difficult, but you'll have fantastic seats in the grandstand and be able to watch this amazing, amazing festival. Or you may prefer something a little bit more quieter, a little bit more relaxing, and we can take you on Zen meditation lesson whilst in Kyoto, just as another example of some of the things you can do on our tours. Now, I just want to talk about solo travelers, because we have a number of tours, our top selling tours, where we have solo traveler departure dates. And what that means is that they are slightly less, they're a little bit cheaper than if you were to go on a normal tour and pay the single supplement. However, on top of that, we also put in some other fantastic added benefits, such as a VIP transfer to the airport for the first 50 miles, a free airport lounge, a welcome drinks reception, and also a smaller group size of 18, as opposed to our maximum group size in Japan, which is 24. So our solo departures, we've got 4 tours that are included in this, each with a departure date at the end of 2021 and then a couple in 2022. As you can see on the screen, ranging from 8 and 11 days, 13 days for the Discover Japan, and then our Japan Uncovered at 17 days, which is our most popular tour to date. And this tour really does cover most of what most people want to see on the main island of Kyushu. And this has been such an amazing success, this tour. We launched it originally in our 2018-2019 brochure. So the August of 2018 with just 2 departure dates. We sold them out within a matter of weeks. And so we ended up actually putting 25 departure dates on for 2019, all of which sold out. And we have over 40 in place for 2021 and 2022. So this tour really is the most extensive, includes all the classic sites, the cultural activities, the modern cities, the beautiful landscapes, really ensures you get the most out of your trip in what is just over a 2-week visit. So we really do take care of everything for you, and this really is a fantastic tour. So I'm just going to walk you through this tour with some of the highlights, and I'm going to mention a few other tours as well so that you can understand a little bit more about the other islands other than the main island of Kyushu. So we start this tour in Osaka, and Osaka is a great base to start because there's lots of things to do. There are very short trips from Osaka. So you arrive, you're going to spend a few nights in Osaka, so it's great, you're not on the move straight away, and you'll get to see Osaka Castle. Now this construction of this castle began in the early 1500s by the then emperor, and this castle was really built to unify Japan under his rule. And it sits atop a fantastic hilltop perch with views of Osaka itself. And the great thing about Osaka, it does have some of the best food that you will taste in all of Japan. And it's very famous for its giant savory cabbage pancake. Doesn't sound that appetizing, but I assure you, it's absolutely delicious. And that's called okonomiyaki. And that's a fantastic street food classic. And then We'll spend time in Nara. We'll take you to have a stroll through the famous deer park. And deer are thought of as sacred animals in Japan. They've been carefully protected for many, many centuries. In fact, they are protected as natural monuments. And right up until 1637, if you killed a deer, that was actually punishable by death. So they're seen as being sacred messenger animals of the gods, as far as the Japanese are concerned. What we tend to do as tourists here, the deer will come right up to you. You can buy local deer biscuits from local vendors. They will bow in front of you. The idea then being that you give them their reward for bowing in front of you, which is one of these biscuits. If you don't do that, or if you tease them, you may find that they'll give you a slight little headbutt. Nothing heavy, nothing dangerous, but they are used to being around people and they will come up very, very close to you. So it's quite an experience. And then we'll spend time on our way to Hiroshima and visit Himeji Castle, which is really considered to be the most magnificent castle in all of Japan, mainly because it's so well preserved. It's a National and World Heritage listed treasure. And the reason it's so well preserved, unlike any other castles, it's not been involved in any conflict. It's not had any damage by war, earthquake, fire, any natural disasters at all. And it's got the nickname of the White Heron Castle because it slightly resembles that bird. And we go from this fantastically well preserved original monument to Hiroshima and the other end of the scale. So Hiroshima is a modern city now because it was largely destroyed, obviously, by the atomic bomb dropped in the 6th of August, 1945, which pretty much destroyed everything within a 2-kilometer radius and killed 80,000 people immediately, and then many, many thousands more of radiation exposure later. The city itself has been rebuilt, so it's quite a cosmopolitan city now, and a lot of sites of historical heritage that were destroyed by the atomic bomb have also been reconstructed. However, what you see in front of you now is the A Dome, which is the only building that actually survived that blast from the center. And it's here where you'll actually visit the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park, which is a very, very moving experience, which commemorates that terrible, terrible atrocity. And then on to Shrine Island, as it's known, Mirajima. And this is famous for that large torii gate that you see in the middle, which almost seems to be floating when it's at high tide. Now, you'll see lots of torii gates around Japan, and they're actually a spiritual entrance gate to Japanese Shinto shrines. So they mark the official boundary between the human and the spiritual worlds. And again, this shrine is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a national treasure as designated by the Japanese government as well. And you will see lots and lots of these around Japan. And the real beauty of traveling around Japan is the use of bullet trains. And this is a fabulous experience. I can't recommend it highly enough. And you'll be on this tour traveling from Hiroshima up to Kyoto, which takes 1 hour and 40 minutes. The trains are always on time. They always leave on time. They're spotlessly clean, and they really are a fantastic way to travel. They reach generally with passengers on board about 200 miles per hour. And they're now even building a range of maglev trains, which via 2 magnets levitate above a track, and they will actually travel at about 350 to 375 miles per hour. And they are due to be fully operational across the country by 2030. So by the time we build HS2, it will already be out of date. Now, you can't take huge amounts of luggage onto the bullet trains. So what you actually end up having to do is pack your large luggage that you've brought over with you. We'll put that on the coach. We'll take that to the next destination, and you can just go on with a little hand luggage onto the bullet train. And then after you've done your excursions and your visits, the large luggage will be at your hotel in your hotel room when you arrive. So we arrive into Kyoto, and for me, this is the part of Japan that I enjoyed the most. It's fantastic. It really sort of encapsulates, really for me, Japan in a nutshell. Culturally, the historical heart of the country, the best place to see traditional temples, shrines, gardens, the geishas, fantastic shopping, amazing restaurants. and it's the ancient capital. So it was the emperor's residence from 794 to 1868, and then the emperor decided to move to Tokyo, which is now the capital, of course. You will see geishas wandering around the streets in this area here, which is the Gion area, which is full of little bars and restaurants, geisha shows. And around about the early 1900s, there were about 80,000 geishas across Japan. Now they estimate there's probably only 1,000. So they are dwindling with regards to modern Japan. We'll also get to visit some of the local temples as well. And this is where you'll have your tea ceremony with a tea master. We'll visit Fushimi Inari Shrine, which is these thousands of torii gates, which stretch up to Mount Inari, 230 odd meters high. Originally, the shrine was built to worship the god of rice, but this has been translated over the years to the god of business, and it's individual businesses donate these torii gates. So I'm not sure what's being advertised to us in front of us because I can't read Japanese. And then we go to the Golden Pavilion, and this is again an absolutely stunning experience. Originally built as a Buddhist temple, originally built as a retirement villa for the shogun, but on his death in 1408, decided they wanted this to be turned into a Buddhist temple. And the top 2 floors are, as you can see, covered in solid gold leaf. But it's really the surroundings. The gardens are amazing. The lake is fantastic. You spend some free time wandering around here, just relaxing. It's stunningly, stunningly beautiful. It really is a lovely way to spend a couple of hours. We then move into Kanazara. We're starting to move slightly further north now through the island of Honshu. And here is 3 of the great gardens of Japan, as they're called, which are in the outer gardens of Kanazara Castle. And although Kanazara is often compared to Kyoto, it is significantly smaller than the ancient capital, but it's also renowned for its impeccable geisha district, but also its samurai district. So you'll learn all about samurai warriors whilst in Kanazara. Before moving up into the alpine area of Takayama, where you'll see this amazing, quite unique architectural style, which is known as Gasho Zakuri, which means constructed like hands in prayer. So the farmhouses with these steep thatched roofs, which are have no nails or anything in them at all, and they're meant to resemble the hands of Buddhist monks pressed together in prayer. They do have a practical reason as well for this design, and that's really to withstand the large amounts of heavy snow that falls in the region during the winter. And also the roofs also provide a large attic space, which is used for cultivating silkworms as well. And then we'll get to visit the snow monkeys just outside of Yudanaka, where you can see in Jigoku-dane, the monkey park, and you'll see these wild Japanese macaques known as snow monkeys bathing in the hot springs. So great thing to see, really, really interesting. And what's fascinating is that no other non-human primate is more northern living or lives in a colder climate than these Japanese macaques. So we don't just leave all the bathing just for them though. You then get to, in Yudanaka, have an onsen experience yourself. So a hot spring bathing. And the term onsen actually is not just referring to the hot spring itself, but also covers the bathing facilities and the traditional inns that are frequently around these areas. We then move to Mount Fuji, which is the real iconic symbol of Japan. It's 3,776 meters high. It's the highest of Japan's mountains. And we will make our way up to the 5th of the 10 stations, where you will get fantastic views over the area. And also we'll visit Fuji 5 Lakes. We'll cruise across Lake Ashi, where we then will take the Hakone ropeway, which is a cable car, which will take us up to the top of the Hakone district, where we get this fantastic view across the valley to Mount Fuji. And then time in the capital of Tokyo. Of course, it's known for its modern skyscrapers. It's being as being a cutting-edge capital city. All the neon, the lit landscapes, the number of vending machines that are there, dispensing all manner of goods, from hot and cold soups um, drinks, bags, shirts. There's one that even looks like you could drive a smart car away. So I think there's one for every 23 people. So a vending machine for every 23 people in Japan. That would mean if you lined them all up together, they would stretch all the way from Tokyo to Hawaii. And the thing about Tokyo, though, is that you don't have to go far to come across traditional Tokyo. So everybody is familiar with the Shibuya district, which is incredibly busy. About 2,000 people crossing these crossings, as you can see here, during the rush hour. Lots of high-tech shopping areas, robot cafe, cat cafes. I saw a hedgehog cafe when I was there. But literally just around the corner, you've got Yogi Park, which is like Central Park in America, I guess, but a lot more tranquil. So people are doing Tai Chi, they're playing checkers, they're reading a book during their lunch hour. Absolutely stunning. And not far from that, you can then also stroll through the vibrant Asakusa district. And this is where you can really soak up the ambiance of the Senzoji, Tokyo's oldest temple. And it's the only example of two religions sharing the same temple complex, with a Buddhist temple on the right of the picture and a Shinto shrine on the left. And then finally, you can finish up with some fantastic views over the whole of Tokyo, up the 634-meter high Tokyo Skytree, which is the tallest structure in Japan and also the tallest tower in the world. So that's our most popular tour of Japan. I'm just going to highlight a few other tours. So first of all, one of our new tours. Not everybody can do the 17 days. So here we have a fantastic tour, again, focusing on the main island of Honshu, our Experience Japan tour, with lots and lots of experiences thrown in. And also, as you can see, visiting some of the areas I've mentioned, but also a couple of different ones. So you will get to explore the bamboo forest, but you'll also get to visit Matsumoto Castle, known as the Black Crow Castle, for obvious reasons, as you can see in the image here. Enjoy sake tasting, and we'll take you to see the Grand Buddha, the second largest bronze Buddha in Japan, in Kamakura. And then we have our Japan by rail tour. Now, this is the tour that I would do if I got the opportunity, without a shadow of a doubt, because 21 days, 10 rail journeys, 5 of which are bullet train, the rest are first class. But the real beauty of this tour is you see all of the highlights across all 3 of the main islands. Kyushu in the south, Honshu in the middle, and Hokkaido up in the north. So absolutely stunning. So just going to pick out a couple of things. You still get to see the snow monkeys. You're going to Kyoto. You're getting Nagasaki and Hiroshima in, Sendai, Hakodate. But let me just use another tour to show you a couple of things about the Southern Island. So we have our Japan in the Scenic South, which travels from the Scenic Southern Island right the way through to Tokyo in Honshu. But you will see this on the Japan by rail. You'll spend time in Fukuoka, which is the major city that is, sorry, excuse me, on that southern island. And it really is a fantastic place to spend some time. It's the largest city, as I said, but it's known for its ancient temples, its beaches, and its modern shopping centers. And it's also closer to Seoul in South Korea than it is to Tokyo. So it's always been a really important harbor city for many, many centuries. And then Kumamoto, which is a city on Kyushu's west coast, and that's famous for its castle and also being the gateway to the Aso region, which is really where you're going to see this amazing, stunning countryside. Aso is an active volcano. It's at the center of the island, and the crater is one of the world's largest, with a circumference of over 100 kilometers. And there's also lots of other active peaks around. And then you come to the Beppu Hot Springs, which is Japan's most famous hot springs resort. And you can bathe there, but then we will also take you to experience the Hells of Beppu, which is several spectacular hot springs, but they are far too hot to be bathing in, and they're just for viewing rather than bathing. And I'm going to use this tour, our journey through Japan, which starts actually up in the north and then comes through the main island of Honshu. I'm not going to cover anything in Honshu anymore, but I just want to cover up in Hokkaido, because again, the Japan by rail does actually visit Hokkaido up in the north. and you have the capital, which is Sapporo. It's really known as a winter wonderland, introduced in the Winter Olympics to the world, really, in 1972. And Sapporo is one of the nation's youngest major cities as well. And as I said previously, it is famous for that snow festival that takes place every February. And then you go out to Oturu, which is a small harbour city northwest of Sapporo. And this has beautifully preserved canals, which really give the city centre a very distinctive character, much more reminiscent of past decades. Before then visiting another Hell Valley, so again walking through a volcanic crater, so you'll see the steam jets and the hot springs, before then taking a train out to the harbour city of Hakodate. And this is where the mighty Mount Hakodate, you ascend the Goryo Kaku Tower for views of this famous fort. And this star-shaped fort is very, very unique. You can see the moat surrounding it all, but to have a fort in this shape is very, very unique. I don't think there's another one like it anywhere else in the world. And if you want to combine two fantastic destinations, then we have our Ancient Empires of China and Japan tour, where you're getting the top highlights in China, and then over to Japan, some of the top highlights on the main island of Honshu. So just with regards to our actual tours, we have two Go Beyond tours. They don't include all meals, so they are different from the rest of our tours. They also have a smaller group size of just 18, and they are a little bit more immersive. You still get to see all of the major sites, but there's a little bit more indulging in the local culture, gaining a deeper understanding of the destination as well, and some fantastic experiences. If there's anybody who is listening to this, who is part of a group and they think, wow, I'd like to actually get a group together to go to Japan, then please get in touch with Savvy Travel, because together we can arrange this for you. What do we call a private group? So as long as you can get 10 people together, and with Savvy Travel, we can help you promote this as well. So we can create a dedicated tour for you if you're part of a social group, for example, or maybe you just have a lot of friends you'd like to travel with. If you can get them all together, we can actually do this as a private group for you. And our guides. So we always like to finish on this before I go through some of our fantastic offers currently. Our guides really are the best guides in the business. We know that because of the intensive training that they go through. We have a particular way that we wish them to perform. They are incredibly passionate. They really know their stuff, but the way that they communicate with our guests is amazing. You have a guide who's a national escort from start to finish with you, and their job is to make sure you have the best experience possible. And we know from the customer feedback we get with customers staying in contact with some of our guides for many years after they've finished their tour and they've come back home, that they really do deliver a fantastic job. So our guides, we're very, very proud of what we deliver with our guides. So our offers for November. So we currently have £99 per person deposits, and this is part of our flexible booking guarantee. Your balance due date is not until 6 weeks before departure. And should you need to change any time from paying your deposit to when your balance due date is due, then we will do that for you with no questions asked, free of charge. We've got a couple of other offers: free return premium economy upgrades to Japan and India if you fly with British Airways, free one-way premium economy upgrades if you wanted to go to Vietnam or Cambodia with Vietnam Airlines. Both of those offers are for tours generally up to around about the mid part of 2021. But our big offer for November is on 26 tours to celebrate our 26 years of operation. And these are our top selling tours across all of our destinations. You can save up to £800 per person by flying free. And this is for departures in 2021 and right the way up to November 2022. So this is an incredible offer. In all the time that I've been with Wendu Tours, we have never done an offer as generous as this. This really is a genuine saving and can be secured for just a £99 deposit. So please do get in contact with your local Savvy Travel branch, and they'll be able to help you and get your inquiry and price this up for you. So all that remains is for me to say thank you very, very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. Please do get in contact with Savvy Travel and they'll be able to help you and guide you through all of our tours and get you a great booking as well. So I hope to see you at some point in time on a Wendy Woo tour booked through Savvy Travel. Thank you very much for your time.